Mother is a person that everyone in this world deserves, but does every mother deserve a child? This is the question that many sometimes wonder, and just like this the hopeful and wonderful story starts. The first thing that we see are two hands praying for something. In the next second we see the face of a boy filled with tears that were filled with pain, sorrow and agony, and with a weak, cracking voice, the boy lets out his voice and cries that he wants nothing from anyone, except a small family for him. As he huffed for air, a meteor comes flying towards him, and with a sonic speed and blasting sound it lands right in front of him, as if God has heard his cries and prayers. As tears were barely hanging in his eye, our main protagonist's life was about to change forever. As he looks in the gigantic hole, he sees inside and comes across a weird alien-like hamster making a troubled expression. Now our main protagonist was not having any problems here, and with a hopeful voice he asks who this fellow really was. Struggling to crawl near the cute little animal, he falls down, and when he approaches it, the alien was saying something but in an entirely different tone and voice. When he grabbed the animal, it was clear that it was hurt from a blast like this, but when he touched it, it immediately backfired and the alien ends up biting onto his finger. Now instead of attacking it back, the boy gently lifts the animal and begins to comfort him, like someone who needed love. The alien itself was just blown away by this, and from one look, anyone can conclude that this boy was not in a very good place himself, and yet, he still had the energy and love to give to others. In the next second the boy ran with everything that he had, and after stopping by a very dangerous-looking building, something was truly wrong. With a very terrified voice, the boy enters greeting to someone, but when we see what was inside, we see the heart-wrenching sight ahead. Hundreds of pounds of smelly and unfiltered trash laid around the entire place, and there was a suitcase ready, and it seemed like someone was preparing to abandon the entire place. His greetings were obviously not heard, and as he treated the cute little guy, with a cheerful smile, he lets the alien know that he would definitely be fine with this. In just a few minutes, the alien itself was pretty comfortable around him. Now the main problem was that the boy wanted to feed him, and when he shared how he has literally no food, he mutters that he only has some wild berries that he picked up a few hours ago. He tries to give them to the alien, and sure enough it ate it, and just quietly chewed on the berry. As two souls were found in trash, it seems like the boy smiled for the first time in a while, but when we see the absolute terrible and sad sight in the next scene, it leaves the entire story upside down. The boy quietly walks into a cage made for dogs, and as he crawled inside, he locks the door to himself and cheerfully he lets the alien know that he can't be found no matter what. If that happens, then his mother would not be so happy with him. As he lays right next to him, with a weak voice he wondered if his mother would be back today or not. And it seemed like he wished that she would come home soon. Nora begins to ask the little fluffy-looking alien its name, but it could not really form anything and just kept trying to speak something. By mixing the constant phrases that it would say, Nora comes up with a brilliant name and names the little guy, Aloha. As he smiled and had the best time of his life, in the midst of hell, Nora was happy. In the middle of trash, smell, heat and darkness. From the cans and trash, it seemed like Nora did not get a heartwarming mother like he was, and his worth is nothing more than an insect. In the night, the main door opens, and as he wakes up from the unsettling sound, he quickly spins around to greet his mother, but that trash ends up grabbing him by his throat, and she begins to beat his face like never before. She was not only taking out all her frustration, but also scolding him for going outside of his cage. As the slaps change to brutal punches, she screams at him while under the influence, screaming to him that she wished that he was never born in this world. She lets him know that he should die soon. As tears formed in that little soul's eyes, we can get the painful picture of the fate and life that this fellow had. Despite everything, he kept apologizing, and in the next second, his mother this time, hands him a bag of processed food, and quietly she turns around. That poor soul quickly turns around and began to call out to his friend and let Aloha know that they finally have bread, but in the next second that trash mother ends up stopping by the cage and she locks it. As he looks at his own mother with innocent eyes, he had no idea that this monster was really about to do this. She gets up and while humming she leaves him there. She began to answer the call, and it seemed like she was abandoning her old life and was about to move in with her new man. She begins to share on how they are going to be together from this day onward, and she begins to pack things after things. What was more bizarre, she ends up putting a cockroach toxic spray and she begins to push on it hard. And just like that, the greatest trash walks out of the door, leaving an innocent soul behind in a cage. She had no expression, and it was clear that Nora must have been a mistake that she was to get rid of, and today was exactly the day where her new life was about to start. Nora, realizing that she was actually leaving, he begins to call out to that devil with weak voices. He calls out to his mother asking where she is going, and if she would come back for him, but she does not stop and leaves him. His muttering turns into cries and she screams that he would do anything, and would be a good son, but his tears meant absolutely nothing. He cries to his own mother to not abandon him, but as she locks the front door as well, darkness and an abyss of hollowness surrounds him completely. No lights, no electricity, no love, no warmth, no humans, no mother, no family. Nora was born from a mistake. As the spray went on and on, he began to vomit over and over again and coughed from the lack of oxygen. As the agonizing hours turned into days, all the food and spray were completely used up and Nora lay there in an unspeakably sad condition. His clothes were completely unwearable and his eyes were bright red from all the constant pain and crying. His lips were barely together, yet he still lets his only friend know that he is sorry for keeping him hungry. The alien didn't hesitate, and immediately he licks his overall falling tears, and Nora, knowing that he has a good wingman beside him, closes his eyes, and with a hopeful and sad voice he lets Aloha know that he doesn't have a lot of time. And he lets his friend know that he can eat him. As he smiled through his broken will and humanity, he lets his friend know that he was happy. Aloha, seeing his friend in such a bad condition, begins to tear up, and Nora bids him farewell in that cage, slowly letting go of his miserable life. With a teary face, Aloha looks at Nora and tries his best to wake him up, but after remembering his last words, it begins to eat him. After some time, a series of unexplainable chemical reactions of some sort take place, and a voice calls Nora. He opens his eyes to see a figure with sharp teeth looking at him. He looks at him with surprise, and when he asks who it was, the figure introduces himself as Aloha. As he hugs him, Nora knew who exactly he was. Nora tries to move his other arm, but when he glances at it, he only had one arm. Aloha blames himself for everything and cries that he had to do it. And Nora calls Aloha his family, and lets him know that he is thankful for everything. But things change when he hears a cracking sound and men scream from the back, and when he goes to check it, he sees that his home was completely in flames from top to bottom and firefighters were there to control the fire. Aloha tells his friend that someone Nora knows set the fire to remove everything, and tears began to overflow, as Nora realizes that his own mother was trying to kill her own son to start her own new life. He cried, and Aloha quickly hugs his friend, and quickly Aloha offers him a handful of weed herbs of some sort. As he begins to explain to Nora the great benefits that it has, Chapter 1 of this manga ends.